Hey guys, welcome back. As you can see here, I have my lightning pied female hanging out here. She laid about 2 weeks ago and she's actually had 2 meals already, so I'm really happy about that. Getting them back on food right away is very important. It helps get them ready for the next time they're ready to breed. But today I wanted to talk about maternal incubation versus using an incubator. We had somebody ask the question yesterday in the live stream of the video at 8 a.m. and I thought, you know what, it's a pretty good topic to talk about, because I don't know why this year more than any others I've seen people start to talk about maternal incubation. And I'll just tell you up front, there is not a chance in hell that I would ever use maternal incubation on any of my clutches. And I was thinking about it, like, what's the best analogy to talk about this? And that is, this is all technology, right? You know, decades ago, there probably weren't reliable incubators. So maternal incubation, maybe it was somewhat of an option, but I'm sure people still found out ways to do incubation without letting the snake do it. Now, my analogy would be, hey, you go to the grocery store, you buy some meat, you buy some yogurt, you buy some milk, things like that, stuff that can spoil. Do you put it down in your basement, if you have one, maybe in a cool part, and just hope that it keeps, or do you put it in your refrigerator? And that's sort of the way I look at this. We have the technology, we have reliable incubators if you buy one. Even if you create one yourself, usually they're pretty reliable, and they keep the eggs at the perfect temperature. And now that we're kind of getting better with humidity management, people are figuring out, okay, it's very easy to incubate these eggs in an incubator. You set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it. It's very easy to, this girl does not want to stay here. It's very easy to monitor the temperatures, to monitor the humidity when you have it in an incubator. It's basically foolproof. It's boiled down to being foolproof. I have quite a few videos about it being foolproof. I'm going to put her away because obviously she doesn't want to be out. So let's get her up in her house up here. Go ahead. Nope, don't go in the rack. That's dangerous. See how hard it is to handle these guys with one hand sometimes? All right, go ahead, get in there. Go ahead, go ahead. Get in there. So we've developed foolproof ways to incubate these eggs. And maternal incubation, in my opinion, is not foolproof. You're basically, as the snake breeder, I would assume, be paying attention to that mom multiple times a day. And assuming that it hasn't moved off those eggs, assuming that it didn't kick any eggs out, you have to be very strict with the temperatures in there, assuming that she is, you know, tightening up on them or loosening her grip a little bit to make sure that they're keeping the constant temperature. You are making sure that the humidity is going to be up to you to kind of figure out, because she can't necessarily control the humidity as well as she can control the temperature. And you're assuming she's a good mom. Those are all things that, look, I mean, this is very scientific at this point if you think about snake breeding, and I wouldn't put a $10,000 clutch of eggs up to the chances that the mom is going to incubate those eggs properly. I don't know why I've been seeing this conversation more this year than I had previously. If it was my first guess would be that there are more inexperienced breeders that are kind of adopting this, coming into the hobby right now, which is weird considering how many people are getting out. And it's kind of like a new ideology of, maybe I can do some maternal incubation. And it's not a good idea. You're gonna probably lose eggs. I would have to bet that your percentages of eggs going bad are going to be higher with maternal incubation than using an incubator. And I'm not just saying this because I'm guessing it. I actually have proof of that. My cave-dwelling rat snakes laid eggs, I think over the winter, maybe December. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to try this because it's not obviously a high value clutch. I'm actually not a colubered breeder. I'm just going to see how this works out. She did an absolutely terrible job of incubating those eggs, to the point that after about 2 weeks, I did pull them and put them into the incubator because I thought, well, I'll try to salvage it. They all went bad anyways. So there was like 10 plus eggs in there, and they were all bad. You know, those snakes sell for $500 a piece, right? That's potentially $5,000 I could have made off of selling those babies if they would have hatched, if I would have pulled them and put them in the incubator right away. So, you know, I really don't understand why people want to try it. If you're breeding a normal to a normal, go ahead, be my guest, let the snake do it. But if you're treating this like a business, if you have some higher value snakes that you're going to be producing, absolutely do not do maternal incubation. I just feel like it sets you up for failure. It sets you up for the possibility of having more issues, of losing more eggs. In this business or even hobby, what you're trying to do is making sure that you're getting the best odds. You're trying to get the best clutches possible. You're trying to make sure that the most eggs hatch. You're trying to make sure that when those eggs do hatch, that they're healthy. And the best way to do that is to put your eggs in an incubator. It's very consistent. The temperatures, the humidity is spot on if you do it correctly, and there's nothing you have to worry about. I even have mine set up on backup generators to make sure that if the power goes out, that incubator still receives power. You're not going to have that luxury in a snake rack. If the power goes out and this thing loses its temperature and your room drops down to 60 degrees and there's no hot spot, those eggs, if it's like that for long enough, could be gone. So I absolutely do not advise you to do maternal incubation if you care at all about the viability of that clutch. Some people might have some anecdotal evidence that it works for them, and maybe it has, but I would guarantee you, I don't know if they would test out a DG Clown to a DG Clown Pied clutch maternally. And do you see Justin or Ozzy or any of those guys using maternal incubation as a method in which they incubate their eggs? Like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel with this stuff. Sometimes I think these ideas start getting kicked up for some reason, and I don't know why. But people use incubators for a reason. Because they work. Because they're stable. Because it is a proven thing. So do not try to reinvent the wheel. Incubate your eggs like everybody else that all of the pros do, and that's using an incubator. So when this girl here lays her eggs in a few days, she was all corkscrewed up earlier, which was kind of neat. I think I have a picture of it I'll post on Instagram. She is going to have her eggs pulled, and they are going to go in the incubator with my other lightning pied female, because I want to make sure that they all hatch. If they're all good eggs, I want to make sure those eggs are hatching. Don't test it to fate. You know, by doing what we're doing in this hobby, by taking one cool snake and pairing it up with another cool snake, we're not letting nature take its course, right? We're choosing to breed those morphs to these morphs. So I'm not going to let nature take the reins of incubation either. I'm going to take control of that as well, because at the end of the day, the whole point of this is to get eggs and to create babies. And I'm not going to just leave that up to chance or to nature. I'm going to take control of that as well.